Hey everybody, it's Mike. It's Wednesday, April 13th, 2022. And in this video, I'm going to cover a comment that came in under my recent video, John Lennon, Janus, the Fool, and Hey Bulldog. But before I get there, I want to thank everybody for all of the interaction that took place. There is over 200 comments, very insightful dialogue, and I would like to thank my musician listeners and subscribers for chiming in on whether John Lennon was the piano player on Hey Bulldog. And I forgot to mention in this video that the official narrative also tells us that not only did John Lennon play the piano on the recorded track, but he also was the lead guitarist, something that I find suspect, but I'll let you guys decide. Now, the reason why I want to address this comment is because it's a mindset that we see in alternative research. And it's a mindset where the person has done their own research on a particular topic, and they are very adamant and very passionate about their position. And what they want is for somebody else, in this case me, to take the baton from them and to incorporate their theory, their position, into my work. And if I don't do that, if I don't embrace or I don't talk about what it is they believe or what it is they would like me to talk about or what it is they want me to talk about, then I'm accused of being intentionally deceptive and lying and misleading people. And the topic that this person is looking at is a very large conspiracy by itself. And I have a rule that I follow. And that rule is that I never take two complex standalone conspiracies and try to integrate them. Because it's hard enough to get people to get their heads wrapped around a complex conspiracy like the Beatles and McCartney. And then if I bring in something like the fabricated timeline, the fake history conspiracy or theory, and this is what this person is focused on, then what's going to happen is you run the risk, or I run the risk, of convoluting my core message, my core research as it pertains to this channel. And so I don't do it. Now, the interesting thing is, what this person didn't understand is that I am very familiar with the fabricated timeline theory, the fake history conspiracy, going back to Anatoly Fomenko's work, and I'm going to take you through all of this. It's sometimes referred to as phantom time. And I've put a number of videos up on my blog over time which talk to this theory. And I'm not saying that it's not important. And I do believe that there are huge chunks of history which have been fabricated. But what I'm going to show you is this person's desire for me to incorporate this into my work has no bearing. It's irrelevant to what I presented in this video when I spoke about the Roman god Janus. And I want to make it clear that I'm not picking on this person. I'm just using their comment to illustrate how some people mix apples and oranges and don't even realize it. Okay, so with that, let's move to the next slide. Okay, so the title of the slide, You Need to Listen to Me. And what I'm going to do is read the comment and then I'll make some commentary. So even though you keep being told the Egyptian, Greek, and Roman gods are all fabricated by the Vatican/Scaliger to produce a believable timeline, you still waste your time making videos based on fictional characters. So right off the bat, we can see that the comment is passive-aggressive, he's frustrated, and he's upset that I am not doing what he wants me to do, saying that although I keep being told Keep being told by whom? This person? And that I keep wasting my time making videos based on fictional characters. Well, here's a newsflash. How I spend my time is my business, not your business. And then he goes on to say, all the occult teachings, whether the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Jesuits, Cabal, Torah, Babylon mystery teachings, Egyptian mystery schools, all have their roots taken from Ireland. Now, can this be true? I don't know. Maybe it is true. But what I'm going to show you is it has no applicability to what I presented the other day regarding the Roman god Janus. And what I will also do, to be fair to this person, is to put a link down below in the description box to a video that he had in the comments section which covers this topic. So for anybody who's interested, that link will be down below and you can take a look. So I responded by saying, you know, there is a way to comment and add value without coming off crusty. If you feel or know you have it figured out, then pull a presentation together and present it. Upload to YouTube and take folks through it. I would even consider having you come on my show to offer your perspective. And he responded to my reply by saying that he couldn't do that. So, in essence, he declined the offer. And then I added, that's the way to go about it versus trying to stuff your knowledge and research through the comment section on YouTube or Paul is Dead Facebook pages. And then I mentioned, I am very familiar with the research of Anatoly Fomenko and his new chronology theory. In fact, I did a show with Kara St. Louis going back about 4 or 5 years ago, where Anatoly Fomenko's work was the topic of the discussion. So, I know about Fomenko's new chronology theory, fabricated history. And that's one of the mistakes that some people make. They make an assumption that the person that they're speaking to is unaware that, in this case, I didn't know anything about the fabricated timeline theory. And so with that, let's talk a little bit about Anatoly Fomenko and his new chronology theory for those who are not familiar with his work. Okay, so let's learn something about Anatoly Fomenko and his new chronology. Anatoly was born in 1945. He's a full member of the Russian Academy of Sciences, full member of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, full member of the International Higher Education Academy of Sciences, Doctor of Physics and Mathematics, Professor and Head of the Moscow State University Department of Mathematics and Mechanics. He is the author of a number of books on the development of new empirico-statistical methods and their application to the analysis of historical chronicles as well as the chronology of antiquity and the Middle Ages. Fomenko is a supporter of drastically revising historical chronology. He has created his own version called New Chronology, based on statistical correlations, dating of zodiacs, and by examining the mathematics and astronomy involved in chronology. Most Russian scientists considered Fomenko's historical works to be pseudoscientific. And of course, most Russian scientists, as well as most scientists across the world, would consider his work to be pseudoscience because most scientists are completely immersed in the official narrative, which permeates science. But as you can see, Anatoly Fomenko is highly credentialed. And so let's move to the next slide and learn a little bit more about his theory. Fomenko claims that he has discovered that many historical events do not correspond mathematically with the dates they are supposed to have occurred on. He asserts that all of ancient history, including the history of Greece, Rome, and Egypt, is just a reflection of events that occurred in the Middle Ages, and that all of Chinese and Arab history are fabrications of 17th and 18th century Jesuits. He also claims that Jesus lived in the 12th century AD and was crucified on Joshua's Hill in Turkey, that the Trojan War and the Crusades were the same historical event, and that Genghis Khan and the Mongols were actually Russians. As well as disputing written chronologies, Fomenko also disputes more objective dating techniques such as dendrochronology and radiocarbon dating. And it's interesting that they use the wording more objective dating techniques, because that would say that the narrative of, quote, official history is subjective. His books include empirico-statistical analysis of narrative material and its applications and history, fiction or science. So that's Fomenko's theory in a nutshell. So I'm hoping people can see how if I try to bring this conspiracy or this theory, fabricated historical timelines, into the Beatles conspiracy, how that can be problematic. We have a hard enough time trying to get people's heads wrapped around the Beatles conspiracy. Can you imagine if I tried to bring this in as well? People will just glaze over. I'm not saying that Fomenko's theory and others who have looked into timelines being fabricated, I'm not saying it's not important. In fact, it's very important. But it is standalone. And for anybody that wants to connect dots from one conspiracy theory to the next, they can do that. But with all that being said, I'm going to show you how the theory of history being fabricated, or chunks of history being fabricated, has no bearing and is not applicable to what I took everybody through the other day with regard to the, quote, Roman god Janus. So let's talk about that now. Okay, so the title of this chart, Why Janus Matters Even If He's Fabricated. So let's start with Fomenko's theory as the assumption. All of ancient history, including the history of Greece, Rome, and Egypt, is just a reflection of events that occurred in the Middle Ages. Thus, Janus, as well as other gods within this timeline, are fabricated. Does it matter? With regard to analyzing the symbolism used by the controllers, no. Why? Because even if Janus and other gods are fabricated, that is, contrived characters from a timeline that never existed, they are still symbols used by the controllers to represent and communicate hidden or occulted information and agendas. A symbol does not have to be real. It just needs to be understood by the adepts, the initiates, and those within the secret societies. And it goes back to signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor law. So now let's make the connection between the symbolism of Janus and John Lennon's song, Imagine. Okay, so Janus is known as the god of doors, gates, and transitions, and he is allegedly a Roman god. So what does Janus represent, even if he is fabricated? We are told Janus is the initiator of human life, transformations between stages of life, and shifts from one historical era to another. Hence, Janus is the symbol of transitions. What does John Lennon's Imagine represent? The song represents transformation, shifts, and transitions. Imagine no possessions. This is no different than the World Economic Forum telling us you'll own nothing and be happy. Imagine no countries, no borders. Imagine no religion, etc. Imagine is the anthem of the New World Order. Imagine is predictive programming and conditioning. The song was announcing the one world agenda. Therefore, the symbolism and meaning of Janus, regardless of origins, is what matters. This is how the controllers communicate their agenda. through signs and symbols. So researching the theory of whether history was fabricated or not, and to what extent, has no bearing on the symbolism presented by the controllers to communicate their one world agenda. The controllers could have called Janus Bob or pick any other name, and then said the god Bob has the attributes of transformation, shifts, and transitions. Does it really matter where Bob originated from? Does it really matter if Bob is fabricated or he goes back to true history, back to Ireland? No, because Bob is symbolic. He is a symbol. Janus is symbolism. And when Lennon did that performance with the backing band with the Janus masks and Lennon singing the song Imagine, it was all tied together. It was occult controller messaging to both within their own inner circle and to the public as revelation of the method. And only if the profane are smart enough to piece it together would they get the message. But this is how they go about their business. They will always step back and say, we didn't lie to you. We told you. You just did not understand. Okay, so with that, let's move to the last slide. Okay, so this goes out to everybody, by the way. As I mentioned, I'm not picking on this particular person. If you have something important to say, if you have research which you think is going to benefit humanity, then you need to step out and deliver that message. Don't expect somebody else to do it for you. So create your own content and present your research. You do this via video, websites, blogs, etc. Go on podcasts. Talk about your research and ideas. But don't deliver your research off the backs of those you disagree with. Stand on your own merits and present your work. And what some folks need to understand is I am not a mouthpiece for other people's research, opinions, thoughts, and pet projects. I have my own research that I undertake. And trust me, it's a lot of work, especially when I have everything else that I have to attend to in life that has to do with family, friends, work, and so on. Nobody should ever expect that somebody else is going to pick up their slack. And I understand there are all kinds of reasons as to why people don't want to step out. They're afraid to do it. They may feel like they're not good public speakers. They don't know how to put a presentation together. In other words, they don't have PowerPoint skills as an example. But you have to learn that stuff if you really feel like you have something that is going to empower not only yourself, but humanity. Because trying to deliver your message in the comment section is a complete and total waste of time. Because comments, at the end of the day, they get lost in the sauce. Comments are a moment in time, they die on the vine, and then they go right into the memory hole, never to be seen again. The reach is extremely limited. And with that, I'm going to wrap up the video. The comment section is open. Let me know what you think. You guys and gals have a great day, and we will talk soon.